Hello everybody. So I'm at Smithland Dam. I ain't been here in a while. Kind of good to get back down here and look around. So I want to accomplish two things today. I want to know whether the fish are spawning down here, and I want to know if they're up around this dam. So I'm going to start out by bumping right below the generator pickup. See how everything goes. I catch 3 or 4 that away pretty quick, and they look like juvenile fish with marks on them and stuff. I know the spawn's over down here. I've been kind of laying off the fishing for a little bit. I like to let them do their thing. We'll see how she goes. Now it is supposed to thunder today too, so I gotta pay attention to that. So basically right after the spawn, they go up. Well, they go up before the spawn, as far up as they can get, and the swiftest stuff they can find. And then when they get to the dam, they'll curl back down until they find good places to spawn. And then after that, they go right back up into these dams and start feeding. We'll go with this generator chute for a little bit, and then we'll go out there to the main dam and try that. And they're running the generator, so they ought to be fish in here. Now, then, whether or not they're active, I don't know. So if we catch fish today that's all scarred up, male fish, then we know that the spawn's over. I don't think it is. The water temperature is 67 degrees. I would say that they're still in pre-spawn if they didn't spawn out last week in this part of the country. I know they're spawned out in the lakes, or should be. I've done got my bumping pole baited out. I've got bait cut. That way, all I gotta do is drop my trolling motor when I get up here and go to bumping. Get my initial drift started. It's a dumping some current. And then I start walking the bait backwards. This is a very effective way to catch them this time of year. You know, if you can't catch them off the anchor at the ends of dikes and everything like that, then you gotta switch tactics. I was already stuck. And we ran over a few fish. Let me fix this camera so everybody can see me. There we go. I'll try to run it today without my phone in case it does go to pouring down rain. I don't have a lot sitting out here that I got to worry about. That did not take long. It's what we was after. Real quick fishing. Plumb full. Does not look like it's a spawning fish. Hell, I don't know. It's pretty cut up. See, he's got, but that could have been from my line. He's full of something. I get through with this track, my trolling motor's on a messed up setting. But I want to be fishing while I'm here, not working on a trolling motor. I'm just running frozen skipjack. We catch 4 or 5 like this, and the rain stays away. I'm gonna try to anchor and see what happens up in the actual dam tail race. See if we can get on some bigger fish. That's the bad thing about not having my phone. I don't know whether my audio is working or not. Boys, this is a good way to fish below these dams. You got so much control over what your bait's doing. I mean, whenever I feel it hung up like that, I instantly pull it towards me. That way, I'm up above it still yet. You know, if you're just drifting, letting that bait drag below the boat, when you get hung up, by the time you know it, that bait's done enough air. And see, like that, I get to it before the bait gets above the boat, because that's when you screw up. I need to reel that in and check the bait. It don't feel like it's got bait on it. It does. I just drop her down like that till she hits, and then your current's initially dragging it backwards and you're bouncing it off the bottom. You're vertical jigging only with the current like that. And it is a surefire way to catch catfish. That was a fish there, I just missed him. Sometimes they slam it, take it out of your hand. Sometimes you just feel something different down there. And see, I'm looking at them fish that this run through that I missed right now. Sometimes they'll go completely up off the bottom and you're like, you know it's the fish you miss. Now that's stuck. And if you can feel a lot of stuff down there on the bottom, that's where the fish are gonna be. And that nasty, that's where they hang out. And I let the bait or the fish tell me how they want this bait. Sometimes you gotta, like in this trash, you gotta move that bait a lot. Sometimes you can just let it drag along the bottom. I would prefer to fish slower right now, but I'm in a bunch of trash down there. So I'm continually picking it up. And you can feel the difference between rocks and sand bottom. Well, we're gonna go up through there and make one more track back down through here and then go on the main dam and see if there's any more fish there. Well, I found some fish in some 60 foot of water that I want to try. And there ain't no way to do that while bumping. Now, I don't know about the boat holding here, but we will see. I'd say if the wind wasn't blowing 100, it would. The only way to know is to try. It can sit here 20 minutes while I'm getting everything rigged up to film and everything. As soon as I throw a sinker out there, though, it goes wicked wild. Them's almost got to be good catfish laying down there in that 60 foot of water in this current break. I could be wrong. They could be Asian carp. We'll give them 15, 20 minutes, don't get a bite, we'll go on somewhere. It's gonna turn completely around. Hell, I just as well as to reel in and regroup and move. It's the bad thing about fishing a scenario like this is them fish is right there on that current break, and if you get out of whack on them, then your boat sits there and does circles. And there's no good way to get on them. And if you get up here in the current that'll keep you straight, it's so hard that you can't, the boat won't hold. I think that it's running backwards somewhere here. And if we can get in there where it's running backwards with the wind, we'll be on. We're gonna try it here, because there's a few fish there and it's running backwards and we might be able to stay on. Had to change the batteries out in the camera. Left-hand pole. God dog, I think right-hand pole's trying to do something too. Oh, they're not acting like blue cat, are they? But it's 55 foot deep there, so it's either, it's almost got to be blue cat. Well, don't act like a blue cat. Unless it's a small one. Jerk that thing out of that one's mouth. Sign of a small fish. I got an idea I'm developing, and I think I'm gonna go give it a whirl. Out there where I was bumping at, we're running about a 3.5 mile an hour current. My anchor will hold that. Well, there's this drop off that goes from 40 to 50 and is plumb full of fish, but I couldn't hit it right whenever I was bumping. So I think that I'm gonna run up above it, drop that anchor down, let the boat drift off to where it's on, this side of that hole, and throw these rods out there in that hole. Well, we gotta see what this is first. Now, I'm not gonna horse him in like I do in the wintertime. I'm just gonna let him do his thing. I know one thing, it feels good to have a decent fish on. He ain't no great big old monster, but it's the biggest one I've caught in a couple, 3 weeks. It's like I said, I haven't been fishing in a while, or fishing near as much as I normally do. I got garden and other things that I tend to during the spawn when the activity's low. So I kind of just relax and go fishing, for pleasure every once in a while. But it's about time for me to start firing up real good on them again. 'Cause I feel like the spawn, so I don't know. But I come down here today for a couple different reasons. One, I wanted to see if the spawn was going on. Two, I wanted to catch a few fish. And I kind of feel like that's a male fish, juvenile. And them things will always bite, even during the spawn. They're around where they're spawning at, but they're not actively spawning. They want to be actively spawning, but they're not. So usually where you catch one of these, you'll catch a bunch of them. During the spawn. Of course, I don't know, that fish probably go 15, 18 pounds. So it might be big enough to spawn. And it might be a female spawned out, because it's not a very healthy fish, or fat. Normally that fish would go 25, 30 pounds. It's real dark, skinny. I don't know, I think it's a juvenile male, that's just feeding, trying to get big. But them's the ones that we're after during the spawn. We don't want to catch the 50, 60 pounders. If we catch a 50, 60 pounder today, I probably won't even take it out of the water. I'll probably just cut the line at the hook. So what this is, guys, is a current break where the water's running backwards up towards the dam. And it's actually a place they don't really feed here, I don't think. I think they just hang out here and rest. I think they do their main feeding up in the current. Of course, they might, that one fed evidently. But I don't think that was a pre-spawn fish. I really don't. I don't know. I think that's a juvenile male fish. And it could have been, I don't think he was waving a bed or anything like that, because there was no scars on him. I don't really know on that fish. It's hard to say. If y'all know by looking at that fish, he was dark. So that tells me something's going on. Because he come out of 50-foot water and it's muddy as it can be. So unless he was up on the bank 5 minutes ago sunning, there's something turning him dark. Whether it's, hey, it's fixing to be spawning, hey, I'm spawning, or something like that. I think it's a 3 or 4 year old male fish that was just probably pretty close to a bed here. I think that them blue cat has to have current to spawn. So what they do in the spring, they run up to these dams when the water temperature initially goes to warming up. And they sit there and gorge themselves. And then when that water temperature hits a certain degree, it triggers something in them. And then they go back downstream and look for a place to spawn. probably under a cut bank or something, about 20 foot of water that's got quite a dab of current running over it. Now, I have not fished the lakes enough to know much about how they work in lakes. And that's just my idea of how they work. I don't know whether that's how it works or not. But I will say this, the next 2 weeks in my part of the country is going to be hard. And the last 2 weeks has been hard. I've seen an article where they was in post-spawn in the southern lakes, like Pickwick, down in that area. Right-hand pole tried to go down. There's a few fish out here jacking around today. And I tell y'all something else about this time of year that I've learned. The type of day that it is makes a big difference. Today's a super low pressure. We got storms rolling in that I'm having to keep watch out for. And they'll feed on a day like today. The river's raising, they're actively feeding. And I tell y'all something else. If I'd have had fresh skipjack, I'd done and had 2 or 3 in the boat. That one's going down. He dropped it about the time I reached for it. I think he might be back after it. We'll take a gander at this fish and see if we can make I ain't so doggone sure he didn't come off. Oh, there he is. The current's such in turmoil that you can't really tell what's going on. I don't think that's the first fish who bit. I think that was another one. Now see how light that fish is? So I feel like that fish was nowhere near spawning, but he's too little. That's a baby fish. So he was too little to even worry about it. Well, guys, I'm gonna call it. So the next couple weeks, you can always catch fish, even during the spawn. They don't all spawn at the same time, so you got pre-spawn fish spawning, not spawning yet, still actively feeding. You got the fish that's spawning, and then you got post-spawn fish. I still think that they ain't spawning real good. I'm sure that there's some spawning in these rivers right now. But the next couple weeks is gonna be hard. in this part of the country. You're gonna have to be up in the dams, up in the swift current, and then you bear with it about the middle of June, it'll get back to normal. Then you're gonna have to search for bite windows. So they ain't gonna bite all day long. They'll bite of a morning, they'll bite of an evening, they'll bite at dark. You just gotta find them bite windows, and then you can catch them again. But anytime that you're up in these dams and there's fish there, you can usually catch them. They're up here to feed. I will see y'all the next time.